dog crap. Cleaning up for the kids watching this. Kids, skip it. Your mommy and daddy say, let's watch Tom and Jerry tonight. Say, no. Put on Clockwork Orange. I want to get lit. All right?
With your best friends, Trey, Sterling, and Matt. The film Schmucks.
All right, guys.
Let's get straight into it. I guess, are we doing that? I don't know if it's a tradition, but whoever picks the movie goes last. Is that kind of how it's been going with the opening? So you guys.
That's a good idea.
Opening statements.
Oh man, Trey, do you want to go first?
I mean, you like me going first, so let's do it. I don't have any notes. I guess. Okay, so the movie starts. You want me to wait till we get into it?
No, go
overall right now.
Okay, you doesn't have to do an overall. Just dive into it. First impression. Maybe a vague impression.
I walk outside and I see a pile of dog shit that looks better than this shit. But my God, I was literally a minute in, and I was like, I'm about to turn this shit off. And then I saw Ken Jeong's name come up on the screen. I'm like, oh, we're ready. They're cooking with baby oil now. And then 5 minutes later, I was about to turn it off, and I'm like, boy, oh boy, God, I'm streaming services. Why didn't you pick up Nick Cage's movie? Damn it! But yeah. This movie. I should have said I prefaced this by saying I love the cartoon. The cartoon's one of my favorite cartoons of all time, and that is all true. But my God, what the hell was this? Hollywood, what are you doing? I know it's a pandemic, but my goodness, this is bottom of the barrel poo poo. To be nice. We'll get into it. Sterling, go. I'm exhausted already.
Well, Tom and Jerry was a really good cartoon.
I love the niceties.
And that's the only nice thing I have to say about any of this movie.
Oh my God!
I think WB didn't learn the lessons from the Smurfs movies because.
Hey. I haven't seen them.
Don't tell me you like those movies. You don't like those movies.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of them. Those were better than this. I've seen the bits and pieces of those. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Regardless, I'll just say this: my first impressions were, it was kind of, oh man, it was pretty dull. If I really think about it, because even though the animation was pretty cool, even though there was like a lot happening, it didn't feel like anything was happening. Like it felt just really kind of boring. And as a result, the movie really dragged. And yeah, first impression is not good, not good at all. And I just think the format has. I mean, has there been a movie since Who Killed Roger Rabbit or Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Has there been a movie like that has been successful ever since that came into being?
I guess it depends on successful. Space Jam was successful, but not critically acclaimed. I can't think of another one.
Okay.
That's really good.
So I just don't think the format works. That's just my opinion, and this is another case in point. So,
I'm gonna hop right on your guys' train because here's the thing. I kind of knew, and I'll tell you guys this because this was my pick. Full disclosure to the audience, it was a last minute pick. To be fair, we were gonna review Willy's Wonderland, and until the day before, I didn't bother to check what it was on. And it's one of those movies that you can't rent for $2. You have to rent it for $20. Rent it.
Nick Cage
for $20.
Nick Cage is not who he used to be.
Yeah, man.
He's not who he used to be.
You used to be $14.50, and now you're $20. and I'm not. No, that doesn't make any sense. No, I forgot they do that stuff, and I guess in my head, I thought that Willy Wonderland movie just looked like it was like a straight to DVD type movie or like a straight to streaming service kind of movie. That's the only reason I didn't even question it. But anyway, that aside, we'll do that in the future maybe. So last minute, I'm like, well, wait a minute. We like to keep up with the kids, you know, and we want to see want to see what the kids are into. You know, I bought a yo-yo last week. I'm trying it out. You know, I got a pogo stick, FM radio. Have you guys checked this out? Woo, dog. Foo Fighters. Have you heard them? So now we do Tom and Jerry. Let's get straight to the point here.
How'd the kid like it? There we go.
Up and down, up and down. He watched it, but I felt bad the whole time when I was watching it because I was watching it with a kid, and you can kind of forgive a movie more. But let me tell you this, Sonic, very enjoyable, right? Tom and Jerry. I mean, here's the thing. With Sonic, I was like, they always got to do this thing where they bring the cartoon character into the human world. Sonic made it work somehow. I don't know why, but Sonic somehow makes sense with human characters. Tom and Jerry, as soon as I didn't watch the trailer, but I just saw the little image of Chloe, whatever her name is. Does anyone know?
They didn't. They couldn't. Chloe Musgraves, but they couldn't get Nick. They couldn't get Big Daddy in the cage, so they brought in the other kick-ass
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Kick-ass bitch, yeah. No, as soon as I saw the little imagery, I was like, and I actually thought Smurfs right off the bat. I don't know why, because it seemed like a similar thing. Yeah. And I was just like, why do you have... First of all, you're right. The format doesn't even look good. Like the 2D, I mean, it was kind of 3D-ish 2D. It's just, if you were going to do this thing where Tom and Jerry are meshing with people... And Christy said this during the movie. She's like, if they just did this like they did Into the Spider-Verse or something, where it's just animated, but you put a lot of effort into the animation, it would have been fine. But to me, it's like there's something about it that feels like this movie might have worked in 2002 or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't look that great. But I tried to forgive it, okay? I already knew what I was getting into, so the opening, I'm like, I'll forgive it. You know, it's playing some jazzy music. The pigeons are singing. Tom's playing, you know.
Talk about first impressions. Holy shit.
That was a bad impression, man. Anyway, piggybacking on it, that alone was bad. But the thing to me is, okay, fine. Tom and Jerry are in the human world. My biggest thing was... why are we not seeing Tom and Jerry doing more Tom and Jerry stuff? I know they chase each other and hit each other and there's cartoon stuff in the movie, but I don't give a shit about this girl. I don't give a shit about Kayla trying to apply for a job. Why do I care about her? I don't understand why it's here. I don't know if you guys want to just dive right into the movie. I actually have 2 pages of notes. That's how much this movie frustrated me.
I mean... That's exactly the thing. When she walked in, and I was so in and out of this movie, and she like gets fired over the phone. Like I'm like I was so out of it. I don't even know what happened. What's going on? And then the next thing she like puts on the sunglasses. She's like walking by the door guy. He's like, free food. I'm like, what? And then the next thing we see her eating a cookie, and she looks at a suitcase. We're like, okay. And she sits down and stares at her. I'm like, where is this coming from? What is going on? Like, there's no setup. There's no prenup. You know, I mean, that's like that. I mean, you know,
I like that because of the wedding. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, that schmuck in the movie is married to Scarlett Johansson. You know, he doesn't deserve the dirt on the floor. But we're not talking about that right now.
Great.
But thank you. I just didn't get it. I mean, they are forcing a lot of things in this, and I thought about Sonic being like that worked, and I think what Sterling's trying to say is the literal cartoon in the real world. You know, obviously Space Jam worked. It was great. You know, the goat 23, MJ. But let's be real here. This didn't work. I mean, I don't think they had like Star Wars, like they had no plan. They just said, hey, people love the cartoon. Just smack a couple scenes together. They'll love it. And throw Chloe in. She's cute. Put her in there. And then I had this written down. I love Michael Pena, but my God, why the hell does he have an accent?
Dude, I wrote that down too. I wrote that down too. Mexican accent. You can't see it, but anyway, I wrote that down. I was like, there was no reason. What? It was in That's in Matt's nitpicks this week. I did not get that.
No, did you say nitpick? Because that's not a nitpick. That is a plain stupid.
Well, it's a
by
nitpick.
The director.
Here's why I say it's a nitpick. If you didn't know who he was and you just watched the movie, you would just be like, okay, it's a Mexican guy or whatever. But because I've seen him in other movies and he doesn't have that thick of an accent, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's really important to his character, maybe he's like a first generation, whatever. And then it's like, no, he just has a really thick Mexican accent for no reason, basically.
I mean, let's be real. Like, if this movie was even an ounce of funny, like, it would be a lot better.
I laughed a couple times.
I chuckled. I chuckled. I didn't laugh.
Yeah.
The hardest I laughed was a scene where it wasn't supposed to be funny. So
yeah, I chuckled. Yeah. Well, what scene?
The scene, I wrote it down as fake trailer moment, which was, when everything goes to shit and she leaves or whatever, and it's raining outside. And it just starts playing this really sad song where the guy's like singing, and then Tom kind of his eyes are all like sad, and he gets in the box. I was like, this looks like a parody or something. Like it was too on the nose. It was really bizarre. It's like raining all of a sudden. The music's sad. That made me laugh. I don't know why, but I just started laughing really hard because I was like, oh, it's raining too when she walked outside.
The pigeon singing really weirded me out.
Which scene?
Yeah.
The pigeon.
Oh, when he was singing?
Just any time.
The three pigeons dancing together, beatboxing.
Okay, at the beginning, the pigeon is... Let's talk about the animals, because I feel like we could do a whole podcast on just the animals here in this movie. Because first you're like, okay, this is what they do, right? Tom and Jerry's animated, fine. Then you start realizing, when I saw the horse at the park, I was like, okay, every animal in this universe is animated. Okay, fine. I guess a lot of movies would have real, you have like Garfield where they make the dog real and stuff. It's like, okay, that's always something where you go, why is this real and why is this animated? It's like, okay, fine, all animals are animated. But they never...
Sterling, speaking of one that worked.
Yeah, they never explain why can they understand them? Right? Like, it's like Stewie from Family Guy. The rules aren't clear. It's like, who can hear them? Who can't? Is he a mouse? Do they perceive Jerry as just a regular mouse? Obviously, some of the characters don't. But at the beginning of the movie, they act like, oh, it's just we have a rat problem. And by the end of the movie, they're like, oh, this is our friend. This is our buddy. He has an Instagram account. I don't get it.
Well, it feels kind of cheap because... all the animals are animated, so it's like at that point, why don't you just animate everything? I don't know. It just feels.
Yeah, I mean, animation, I guess, takes longer and costs more money or something. I don't get it, but I mean, that's no excuse. That's the thing. This felt very Hollywood. It just felt so. I mean, and here's the thing. Maybe these type of movies make money, but I just don't get why they don't learn. Like, hey, let's do this, because let's just look at the plot in the movie, the human plot of the marriage. It's super boring. There's nothing interesting there. This is a run-of-the-mill plot, has the ups and downs. The couple has issues or whatever. There's nothing really interesting there. So why throw it in? Why do you feel like you have to, like, well, Tom and Jerry, I don't know, them doing funny cartoon stuff isn't going to interest people, even though that's what the whole cartoon was. We got to add in, and you could also, by the way, I think you actually could tell an interesting story without it having to be some weird human thing about a wedding. I mean, if you try to explain this movie to someone, they're like, oh, a Tom and Jerry movie, what's it about? It's like, well, there's this really rich couple who's staying at a hotel, they're trying to get married, and then there's this girl, she's like a grifter, like I don't know what she does. She's like steal. I don't know what she is. I don't know if she's homeless or what.
She's a thief.
She starts working. Yeah, she like starts working at a hotel, and it's like, oh wait. This is. I said Tom and Jerry. Is this the Tom and Jerry movie? I'm like, yeah. We'll get to that. So anyway, it's like, what does any of that shit have to do with Tom and Jerry?
That's the biggest detriment to this movie is, like, I think Tom and Jerry are in like less than 50% of this whole film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the only
What?
speaking of less than 50%, I was thinking at one point in it, I'm like, maybe it's gonna be like Godzilla. Maybe the real Tom and Jerry battle is gonna come at the end, and it's gonna be awesome. There was never like a full on really dope. Like I wanted like a good like 10-minute epic Tom and Jerry chase or something. Like I really wanted something really like this is the movie. We're going to pull out all the stops. This is going to be some of the best animation. This is going to be some of the best Tom and Jerry antics. And it never really came.
I wanted more dynamite.
You what?
I wanted more violence. I wanted more dynamite and violence.
Yeah. I wanted some teeth shattering and stuff, you know? They did have some good gags in the movie. I mean, they had a couple of good cartoon gags.
Yeah.
I have to say something. I wrote one thing down near the beginning when they first get to the hotel and he sees the Jerry and the door's closing. I'm not sure if you guys remember the scene.
No, I know.
And it's slowly going, and he goes in, and it goes real fast, slams down, and it. All right. So it goes up halfway, right? And then you just see this guy walk over and
Yeah, he just kicks him out. I was laughing at that.
I was like, "Are you just animal cruelty, anybody?"
Yeah,
he's just like so vicious. I was like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. Yeah, there was some good.
Like he's trying to win, like a field goal gig. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. That's how he went into it hard.
I would say it was near after that, but I think honestly the best scene in the movie to me, that was the most entertaining, was Tom trying to get to Jerry in the window. Because it just felt felt the most like a scene from one of the cartoons. It just felt very like, and there wasn't really any humans, even though the setting was the real world. It was very cartoony, and him kind of coming up with these different plans, and he just keeps falling. I was laughing. I thought it was funny. It was reminding me of the old cartoons.
The contraption that he made was kind of cool.
The what?
Whole, like the trap that he made.
Oh
like,
yeah, that was cool too. Yeah. The like overly elaborate.
I don't know what to say about that, but I'll say something about the ones that you're talking about, the window. When he flies in, he jumps out the building, and like I'm like, oh cool, okay. He's gonna go fly into the window or hit it and fall down again.
Yeah.
And he swoops
like
up
Batman thing
and goes 2,000 feet into the sky. I'm like, what?
Was it a Batman reference or something, by the way? Like, I felt like that imagery was so specific, like him like posing in front of the moon and then flying back down. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so. I mean, it's Warner Bros.
I'd be that if it was great, but I'm like, okay, I know they're cartoons, but that was way over the top. He swoops and goes up into the...
I like it. By the way, they didn't make it super clear. At first, I thought maybe this supposed to be like the origin of how Tom and Jerry meet? You know, is him doing thing. But as it went on, they make it seem like no, this is Tom and Jerry who have been fucking trying to kill each other forever. That's what they seem to hint at.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you? I thought. Oh, actually, I'll say this because I could go blabble on about how I think it was their origin. Who gives a
Yeah.
Like honestly.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really matter that much. The only thing that made me laugh was there was one scene I wrote it down where there's one scene where, you know, it shows the main character Kayla like doing stuff in the hotel for a little bit or something, and then she's like, I'll go talk to Tom and Jerry, and then it cuts to like the roof and Tom and Jerry are just chasing after each other, like and like, you know, they pull the chainsaw out and stuff, and I'm like, and it made me laugh because I'm like, in this universe are Tom and Jerry just perpetually like trying to kill each other like all the time? Because she acts real casual. She just like, oh, I'll go talk to him. She heads up to the roof and they're trying to kill each other on the roof.
Yeah. Well, and Amanda said this. She was in and out, and she's like, wait, like this is when they're like at the baseball game. She's like, wait, when did they become friends? I'm like, I know what's going on here.
It was a
Like,
quick
like,
montage for them to become friends. Yeah. And well, here's the big thing that was weird. I wrote this down too. When it shows them on Instagram, taking selfies, their posts are on a joint Instagram account just called Tom and Jerry. I'm like, did they just create an
That's awesome.
Instagram account for that day or something? It's weird.
Speaking of Instagram, how the hell do you get that wealthy off of just being an Instagram couple, to where you can basically buy a hotel, buy elephants for your wedding?
Oh, is that what they were? I thought they were royalty.
Well, okay, maybe that slipped my mind. I didn't know.
I don't know. You could be
royalty?
right too. Maybe I made the assumption. I thought she was a princess or something, but maybe that was me
Okay.
trying to fill in the shittiness of the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
That could be it.
I was gonna say this before I forget on the human thing, because I wrote this down. Like, here's what I didn't get, and it really happened when she kind of first gets the job there. There was a certain point where she's like talking to Michael Pena is like showing her around, and she talks to that guy Cameron, who's the guy, the love interest sort of. By the way, everything that guy said I hated. I don't know why. I just didn't like that character. I didn't like the way he talked or anything. But anyway, she shows up to talk to, and there's a certain point, and I'm sitting there going like, just kind of watching. And I realized like 10 minutes have gone by, and I'm like, am I watching like the Lizzie McGuire? Am I watching like, it felt like some kind of weird New York Minute or something, like some Mary-Kate and Ashley movie I was watching. You know what I mean? I'm like, at a certain point, I was like, this feels like a weird Disney Channel original movie or something that doesn't have anything to do with Tom and Jerry. And what I didn't get was, why?
It felt like the Sweet Office Zack and Cody.
Yeah, it felt
times.
like a similar thing. And here's what I didn't get about it. Kids aren't going to like it, and I can attest to that, because the 6-year-old kid watching it would tune out every time there was no Tom and Jerry. He was uninterested. It's like, and I get it, but then adults aren't going to be interested either, because it's who cares about this? So I don't understand who they're trying to appeal to. Like, what was the point of a lot of these other scenes? Or, I mean, maybe they could have made the plot interesting, and then I would care. But I felt like where the movie should have started almost was your head flipped sideways.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really funny.
Am I still being recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's hilarious. I was gonna go look something up. I apologize.
No, you can. I don't think it's a big deal. But I was gonna say,
quick.
the part in the movie when she's like, "Look, the wedding's tomorrow. You guys go out on the town, okay? That you guys are gonna have to be friends, sort of thing." I almost felt like that should have been the start of the movie. And it should have been a Tom and Jerry's Day Out kind of thing where they get into some crazy antics in New York City. Because the hotel just was not interesting to me. I didn't care really about, there wasn't really even a plot. I don't even understand.
You could have, yeah, that's interesting you point that out. You could have had it to where, because like, I remember a lot of the cartoons, Tom there was always a woman owner character. Mm-hmm. His owner was a woman, and there could have been at a point at the beginning of the movie where she was tired of the chasing going on in her house, and then she's like, "Okay, you got to get out of my house."
Yeah,
and that's where the crazy adventures happened after they get kicked out. That could have been way more interesting than what happened here.
That's a good idea. Yeah, so just something. It kind of felt like it felt like somebody wrote some some bad script in Hollywood about some like couple like wedding or something, and then they're like, okay, let's just take this script and see where we can fit Tom and Jerry into,
Yeah,
like that's really what it felt like a lot of the times.
Who directed this movie, by the way? Was it Tim Story? That's the name I saw.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
I haven't heard great things about his directorial projects.
Did he also direct the Mary-Kate and Ashley films? Because that's what this felt like.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't direct Dune. I know that.
I mean, wow. I don't know. I just think that Hanna-Barbera, they're rolling in their graves right now. Like this.
Oh my,
This is pathetic.
Okay, so
Thank God, and Gene, but the real creator. But yeah, all three of them, Gene Deitch. But they're all rolling in their grave, sad, depleted, waiting for a real Tom and Jerry redemption story. But it ain't gonna happen anytime soon, boys and girls.
They should have just come out with the show. Like they rebooted
Bring back the show, yeah.
They rebooted Looney Tunes, and it's a pretty good reboot. So I don't know why they couldn't reboot.
Or Animaniacs, is that what you're talking about?
No, there's a new Looney Tunes too, like an actual.
Yeah, there's a new.
Really?
Yeah, it's
right
on
where?
HBO. It's like an
HBO
HBO
Max.
exclusive or something.
A show?
Yeah,
it's like a TV show. It's like new Looney Tunes.
Well, I didn't hear about that. I just know that Animaniacs came back and it's amazing. So that's all I know.
I've heard that.
Now we just need
Looney
Tiny
Tunes. Looney Tunes is for babies. Animaniacs are for boys and girls.
I'll tell you what,
I want to be men who kick ass.
I'll tell you what. I went back and started watching Tiny Toons recently for the nostalgia. That show is really funny, really cleverly written. I was really surprised watching it. I'm like, shit, this show's like really good.
It was funny. When they're babies.
Yeah, they're like it's weird because they're kids, but they have different names. So you're like, is this supposed to be them? But the whole first episode is literally like this really weird meta thing where the guy is a Looney Tunes animator, and he's like, he needs an idea and he can't come up with anything because he makes these characters, which is the younger version of Lola and Bugs, named Buster and something else. And then Lola and Bugs, the animator leaves. He's like, oh, I'm going to be fired tomorrow. And then they come up with the episode. And they're like trying to write a script and stuff. It's really, really pretty bizarre. I didn't realize how good it was. But all right, let's get, we know the overall thing. Yeah. We know that the human stuff's BS. And we know that the animation, they should have just made it fully animated. All of that aside. And I also want to put a disclaimer out. I know it's a kid's movie. We know it's a kid's movie. But you can still make a good kids movie and more
Sonic.
Sonic, exactly. But I was gonna say I want to get down to just some like random stuff in the movie. The music to me in this movie, it felt like, you know, I get it. You have like usually you have a score in a movie, and then like, and what I mean is just the background music or whatever. I know that sounded stupid. I can see Sterling's face. He's like, yeah, they do have a score in movies, you fucking idiot. But no, what I mean is every once in a while in a movie, there'll be a scene or two that have a track, like an actual, like, you know, someone singing. It'll be like a popular song or something. Like every other scene in this movie had some random like hip hop or rap track or something playing constantly. And sometimes it would be for like 10 seconds. It would just be like some new song. And to me, it was like, why did they try to put so many songs into this movie? Why couldn't, especially when those old Looney Tune things, the music was really important. Because it was all, because that's all you had was the music and the sound effects. And so in this movie, it was like a real lack of like an actual good like score. And it just seems like they just kept throwing in these like pop songs constantly. It really bugged me.
Yeah, I think it was too much, just too much sound. Like the amount of royalties they had to pay for all those soundtracks, like I can't even imagine. Like, yeah, they couldn't even hire a composer. They just had to pay all these different artists these different soundtracks.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
Is this insider information? Do you work for E?
You're in LA. Well, you know.
No, I know other things, but I don't know anything about Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, that's right. You don't.
I don't.
Let's wrap this thing up. I think, unless you got anything more in your notes there, Mitt.
Yeah. What's your picks?
Oh,
Matt's Nitpicks.
Nitpicks. Did anyone else notice? Now, let me know because I might have just missed something. When Kim Jeong is the cook, chef, which the small lines that he had were pretty funny, just the way he delivered stuff. Okay, so when like he's talking about his the guy that the employees that he's shitting on them and he's patting the guy's head with like a cloth. Here's what I didn't get. Later in the movie. Okay, but that's what I was gonna say. He says, does he mention that that's his son in that scene? Because later in the movie, Kim Jeong just randomly goes, and my son, and he points back, me and my son here. And I was like, what? Was that some kind of weird outtake that they just left in the movie? I didn't get that at all.
I rewind like a couple minutes back to see if like there was any indication.
Yeah, they didn't say anything because the only other scene I think they could have mentioned that was with the cloth, but I thought that was so out of the blue and weird.
I love it. But he's patting him and he covers his eyes.
Yeah, he's
like saying nice things, but like doing this.
Yeah, that was.
They're a great talent. I love working with these guys. I love Ken. Like I told you at the beginning when I saw his name, like let's go, boys and girls, and he wasn't in enough. He was great.
Yeah. Okay. So that was weird, and
that's all he was there for.
I want an explanation for that. 2, Matt's Nitpicks number 2. What have we got to lose? There's a scene at the end of the movie where she gets fired and then Tom and Jerry are there, and that's when they come up with the plan, and they're like, we can go back to the hotel, we can get them back together or whatever. And she's talking to Cameron, the one guy, and she goes, what have we got to lose? But I'm sitting there thinking, Cameron didn't get fired. So you're talking about yourself because you're already fired, but it's like, what have we got to lose? Let's do it. Who cares what happens? And it's like, what about this bartender who's got a fucking job and probably some kids to feed? What are we doing here? You're gonna put a man out of work?
Don't assume he has kids. Come on now.
Well, look, he's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy, and I know he's done a little bit of the in out. You know what I'm saying? So, nitpick number 3.
Cut it.
Cut that one out. Can you cut that one? Nitpick number 3 was the Mexican accent. Or whatever accent. I just thought it was over. I didn't understand.
What the hell?
I just didn't understand why it was thick. They didn't have any. Now, that's, like I said, this is a nitpick. It doesn't ruin the movie, but it's just weird.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
Come on now. That was ridiculous.
Okay, it was weird, but just to be clear, did he sound the same way in Ant-Man? Like, didn't he have a similar accent?
No.
No.
Didn't.
Okay.
Like a hint.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have in real life. He doesn't have one.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a character. It's like one of those things where, like I said, this is probably the nitpickiest of it. I know you disagree, Trey, but I'm like, I know that if you're watching the movie, most people probably don't think about it unless they're a big fan of him.
That part I agree with. I'm just saying, who the hell's idea was it to go to Michael Pena? Hey man, I know we're paying you some money.
Yeah.
You're a Marvel guy. Thank you for showing up to work and putting in a good day's work. Can you put a little heavier twist on your accent for us there, Michael? Yeah, sure, bro. Yeah. Who said this?
Cut that. Cut it. No, I'm just kidding.
No. He needs to be fired. Whoever walked up to Michael and said, please give us some more accent.
I feel like
that guy. That guy. I hate him.
I think it's the director because here's why.
Oh, he's out.
Because the accent got really thick at times, and it was always during comedic scenes, and it makes me think that the director was like, hey, do it again. Thicken up that accent. Accents are funny. Thicken it up. Because it was always in funny scenes, and when it would get real thick.
Oh, my gosh. The one time in Hollywood, they should fire a director in the middle of production, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Right, he's actually right, because you have a guy on set going like, "Hey, Mexicans are funny, thicken up your accent." And everyone's like, "Yeah, production, yeah, that'll sell." And then someone makes a tweet, "Hey, I bought a Mexican burrito. Did you say something about Mexicans in a tweet? Let's fire him." But anyway,
I mean, a precedent has been set. People get fired in big budget movies all the time. Why is Tom and Jerry no different? I don't, fire, get him out of there. He's a failure. Tim Story, you're a failure.
Oh my god!
Come and talk to us. Defend yourself to us.
Are you inviting Tim Story
sucks.
on the show to combat us?
Seriously,
I don't know.
This is based on Matt's theory that he's the one that made
I said
him.
it was the nip. I'm innocent, boss.
I'm sorry.
I don't trust anyone named Tim Story who literally tells stories for a living.
Yeah, that's
fine.
bogus.
and
You know his
fails at
last
it.
name is like, Smith or something. All right.
That's why I got the job.
Let me make a note. Cut
What's-
the last 10 minutes. Okay.
Shut your
I'm just
mouth.
kidding, I'm just
What's
kidding.
your fifth nitpick?
It is you guys are gonna laugh because this is really a nitpick. The skateboard in the movie was a different skateboard than the one in the poster.
What?
If you look at the advertisement and the main advertising logo for this movie, it shows Tom and Jerry on a skateboard. The skateboard is a regular wooden skateboard. In the movie, it's a high-tech Wi-Fi skateboard. Why the fi not? I get it. Now,
Cut it.
and then cut that last one. So then this is the real last nitpick.
And then I got a nitpick.
The end, yeah, you guys can add your nitpicks in, but I it's not a nitpick. It's just a moment in the movie that if we didn't mention it, I mean, this is good. I'm going to be thinking about this for a long time. Whenever the climax of the movie is happening, and Colin Yost and his wife, not Scarlett Johansson, but Pena. Whenever they're like, hey, I love you, and you know what? It doesn't need a big, big wedding and elephants or whatever. I love you. We'll be together. And then Spike the dog just farts.
Oh, I missed that.
The dog at the end of the climax of the movie, the dog in the middle of the intense scene, they're like, we need to add in one last singer. The dog, actually, he doesn't fart. Actually, I said fart. That's actually wrong. He takes a shit as far as I understand. No, he does fart. Maybe he does. Well, because in the movie, the dog, Michael Pena takes the dog out and it shits in the street.
Yeah.
So they make a reference to it later where Spike the dog, during them giving each other their vows or whatever, the dog just farts and Michael Pena almost throws up. And then they just cut back to them talking. And I'm like,
man,
that was really, you had to add that in? That was so weird. I mean, I love a fart joke more than the next guy, but this was a weird timing, dude. This was just like the scene in Sonic when he just farts in the hotel for no reason.
Yeah. Hey, he worked up a lot of.
Fart jokes are hit and miss in movies. I mean, yeah, it's hard to land one.
It's hard to land a good fart in a movie. All right. Anyway, what's your nitpick? What are you guys?
Okay, so my nitpick is I noticed that there was horrible dubbing whenever they introduced Kim Jong's character.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Did you see? Yeah,
I actually did. It's a
He-
very specific scene. I was like, that was weird.
Yeah, just he's saying something completely different.
That was
Man.
it cut real fast, right? Is that the scene where he says it and it cuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes
Well,
in the movie where, it's so classic, but it's this thing, where they have this either the stand-in or the actual actor, but they have the camera on the other actor, and so it's behind their head. But there's a lot of scenes in this movie where, you could see them talking in the movement from the side, and it just was not lining up right, which happens all the time. But it was just,
Yeah.
But that's weird you pointed that out because that Kim Jong thing, I did notice that for a second,
Okay. Also, another thing. Did you guys get kind of some vibes that the main girl was going to get together with Prita?
a little
I don't know if
bit.
that was just me. Yeah.
No, a little bit. I was worried. I was like, where are they going with this? Because
Why worry?
then you can get DiGiorno. But,
Keep it.
well, wait, so Sterling, give a couple of examples, or can you? Because I know it was more like a vibe, but do you have any things where you were like, that was weird about Prita and Kayla?
Yeah, so, of course, initially they start getting really friendly with each other.
Very
But then-
quickly.
very quickly. But the first moment that kind of like caught my eye was when the main girl is talking to the manager or whatever, and the manager tells her, "Oh, Preeta's really taking a liking to you."
Yeah.
And then you just have that shot of Preeta looking back at the main character, all kind of lovingly. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it wasn't the first time, because when there was the scene where she loses the wedding ring or the engagement ring, and she's there's just like a couple of moments where Preeta's really looking at her like smiling, and I was like, okay. And at first it's like, fine, yeah, she's happy, you know, because she got her back or whatever. But yeah, there was several times, and that definitely hit me too. And then there was a lot of times where it seemed like Preeta really wanted Kayla around, and then when they split,
well, yeah, when the main character like came out in that dress as well, that was another moment. I was like, oh, like she looked, you know, it's like a moment of her showing her beauty or whatever to Preeta. I don't know. It was just.
I don't know. I can't wait to read the fanfic.
Here's the thing. If they would have gotten together, yes, it would have been underdeveloped. I don't think it would have been a great conclusion, but I would have been more interested in that relationship than the relationship with the guy.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Automatically, it would have been better, and a better resolution.
It would have been more interesting, you know. I'll agree with you on that. It's like it was so run of the mill that would have at least been interesting.
I think Chris Yost would have been fine with it too.
I think so. I mean, he's marrying Scarlett Johansson, so he's all good.
Oh God! So stop saying that. We're talking about them in the movie. My God.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. I'm talking about the context of the movie. Okay.
It's about context
sometimes.
Oh,
well, don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted. I don't know.
Hey, this movie got animation with real life confused all the time. Okay, let's be honest about that.
All right, this little shindig's gone about 40 minutes too long, so let's just get going.
All right, well, Trey, why don't you open it up then?
I went first. I'll go first last.
Wait, what?
Dog. I'm sorry, tried. That was funny. That was real good. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, dog crap. Cleaning up for the kids watching this. Kids, skip it. Your mommy and daddy say, let's watch Tom and Jerry tonight. Say no. Put on Clockwork Orange. I want to get lit. All right?
No. Yeah.
By the way, inside, you know, all the fans know, but what you said earlier about showing the kid the Clockwork have night terrors, that had me dying.
Just to clarify, I made a joke. I said, I'm going to be watching this one with the kid, and he goes, and I go, I bet I have to make it up to him after I showed him Clockwork Orange last week. But I didn't say it in a jokey way because I wanted to see.
Oh my gosh. This makes Clockwork. I'm saying that this makes Clockwork Orange an Oscar nominee. Not a winner, but a nominee.
I think it was.
My God, this needs to be put in a dumpster, lit on fire, poured concrete in, throw it in the deepest sea and ocean there is, and never bring it back. All right. My God, I never want to talk about it. I pains me thinking about the cartoon because this exists. I want to destroy everybody that even had a hand in this. I'm so mad.
Oh my gosh!
Do not watch it. Do not watch it.
I love it when you warn the fans not to watch it. By the way,
spoiler.
I'll say this because you just reminded me of it, and then we'll move to Sterling's. But the Clockwork Orange seems really like I'm looking back on Clockwork Orange, and you know we were giving Clockwork Orange so much shit, and then now watching like kind of a typical Hollywood garbage, you know, kind of that typical Hollywood bullshit. You're like, you know, Clockwork Orange had some interesting ideas. It was pretty good. You know, like now I'm looking back on Clockwork Orange. I'm like, that wasn't too shabby.
What are you acting out?
Speaking of Clockwork Orange,
You're still on the hook for that one, Sterling. Don't get it twisted. All right,
Sterling. Now I'm on the hook. I feel like Sterling. Go ahead. What's your?
Yes.
This was the movie. This was.
I'm sorry. Start over. Bad space.
That's about all I can say about it. People came together and got a paycheck, and yeah,
Oh my God.
they got their wages.
They got their checks.
They did, and I'm proud of them. They got to pay the rent somehow. So yeah, not a good movie. Really dull. The format is really hard to do with real people and animation, and most of the time it doesn't succeed, especially if it's not funny or entertaining. So yeah, pretty.
Could say that again.
Pretty shitty.
Look, I mean, I can't really say much that these two goons haven't already, spat, but the movie, so I kind of had expectations of this movie as I did of Sonic. I was going in thinking like, look, it's going to be kind of a goofy, cheesy kids movie, but maybe it'll be good to make fun of. Sonic ended up being actually pretty entertaining, pretty funny. This movie, you can't even make fun of it, really. It was too dull. I mean, it wasn't even like bad good. It was just like bad. And that's the worst kind of movie to me. I think a movie, even if it sucks, if it's entertaining, it's entertaining. This movie was not entertaining for the most part. I wish we could have gotten a little more Tom and Jerry. I think this should have been called My Big Fat Hotel Wedding featuring Tom and Jerry or something like that. Because it wasn't a Tom and Jerry movie. It didn't feel like it. And yeah, Hanna-Barbera, they're sitting dick up in their graves right now. And look, like I said, I got nothing else more to say about it. I'm sorry for picking it this week, guys. It was a disappointment. We'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. Willy's Wonderland 2021. Trey, you want to send us off with a little...
I mean, boys and girls, young women and children, please like, subscribe, enjoy our content, comment below. We want to talk to you. We love you. See you next time.
Cut it!
With your best friends Trey, Sterling, and Matt, the film Schmucks.